Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I'm going to be finishing out my Go Wild 2025 notebook. So I've got a couple of things here, and I'm just going to jump right in. I don't really actually have an agenda for how I'm going to the order of things for this, but there are a couple of things that I do want to do. I want to try to get the contact cards that I got from everyone that I waited in line with into my book. I wanted to flip through the book. I wanted to show you where this book is going in my big Go Wild planner. So we'll just kind of, I think we're going to start with showing you where this goes. So for 2025, I decided to use this very slim notebook. This was I guess a swap or swag or something that I got from a previous planner conference, PlannerCon party from Atlanta. I'm pretty sure, 95% sure. If not, it was just something in my stash. And so like I said, I will flip through this notebook in the video. Also, by the way, I will record I think a separate video just for my reaction to the overall conference. This gets into the details, the nitty-gritty of each of the sessions, and so I wanted to just have a video where I'm talking about overall what the experience was like and do a little bit of a comparison between my first Go Wild in Dallas and my second Go Wild in Indy. So again, I will flip through this, but just in terms of where this is going in the giant Go Wild planner, this planner is set up with multiple different sections. So I have a flip through, multiple flip throughs even of this planner. So definitely check those out if you're interested. If you are interested, want to get a link to this planner and the flip through, just leave a comment and I will find the link for you and just post it for you. So there are several sections, like I said. The first one is Go Wild, and for 2025 I didn't really add anything in here, so these are all notes from 2024. Then there is a calendar section, and again I flipped through that, and then there were several I guess prep sections or planning sections. So there was a travel section, packing, budget, and bucket list. So those 4 sections were the ones that I used basically before Go Wild, and so again I do flip through these pages in previous videos. Then there are a couple of other sections. There's 4 more sections. The first of the, I don't know what number. Anyway, the next one is conference. So in this conference section are from 2024, all of my notes from 2024 for the speakers, and so I've got all of these notes in here. And I mentioned in that previous video that what I was going to do is just grab an envelope, and in fact I forgot to grab the envelope, but I'm going to grab an envelope very similar to this one and just put it in here and add my notebook. Okay, so here it is. What I will do is, especially after this video, when this book is completely done, I'm going to just basically stick it in this envelope. I'll actually just do it now so you can kind of see what it looks like. And I think I decided that I was going to, just put it right here. I didn't want to separate any of the previous pages. I'm not using any of the previous pages either though. So it will just go in this envelope right here. I'll pull this out so I can use that. So that was conference. So the conference section for me at least was just taking notes during the conference. Then I created a tab that says contacts, and these were just contact cards. Last year, I kind of put them in this envelope just like this. This year, I have my stack of contact cards, and I guess maybe I could put them in here. But what I was thinking was this notebook had all of these extra pages in the back, and so I would just kind of put them in here, back here somewhere. And then the final 2 sections, the first section is swag. And so what I did last year was just kind of take the bits and pieces. It's not, of course, every single swag thing that I got, but just bits and pieces, photos, things like that, and put them in here. And I want to do the same for 2025. Separate process, separate video. And then the final one I need to label as memories. And so here I was just journaling. For 2025, I don't plan to have a journal section. That's what the reaction video is for. I might just put in a little note in here, with a QR code to my memories reaction video. I think that's I don't know, I just feel like that might be a more straightforward plan. And so that's where it will go again, right here in this conference section, and it will be conference as well as potentially contacts depending on how I feel as I get through the rest of this video. So I definitely want to put my contacts in here. I just don't know if I'm going to do it on video. So yeah, I tend to talk a lot, you guys, and so I'm like already starting and it's like minutes into it already. So let's go ahead and go through this then. So this is the notebook. Again, I got this somewhere from my stash and just decided to convert it to my Go Wild Indy notebook. I did decorate it with some stickers. What I decided to do was use stickers from the previous year for the current year. So these are all stickers, well, mostly stickers from Go Wild Dallas, and I used the Go Wild Dallas stickers for Go Wild Indy. And then for next year, which is Go Wild New Orleans, I will use the stickers from Go Wild Indy for Go Wild New Orleans. And so that gets it to where I'm using stickers that I've seen before but I haven't used, and also saves me money in that I'm using the stickers that are relevant to Go Wild, maybe not Go Wild New Orleans, but definitely Go Wild, and I don't have to, you know, always be on the hunt for new stickers. So with that being said though, what I ended up doing was putting down a bunch of stickers from Go Wild Dallas in my book prior to the conference, and then I just took notes. And I won't read everything to you, but I'll definitely try to hold it up so that way you can take a look at my notes if you'd like to. The very first session was Heather Kell, and so I'm for this only doing day 1 and day 2, so this is Friday and Saturday, and it's mostly only the morning sessions. I do have a couple of notes from the wild crop, so I guess let me backtrack. Thursday was registration day. Friday was day 1 of conferencing, like the actual conferencing with the sponsored tables. Friday night was the wild crop, and then Saturday morning was day 2 of conference. So I have notes from day 1 conference, Friday morning, Friday night, wild crop, and Saturday morning conference. So that's what's in here. So again, these are the notes from Heather Kell. She talked about planning through all the seasons of life, and so I just took notes for how she kind of broke out her planning for the 4 different seasons, and she made comparisons for, you know, what different seasons look like. So I took 2 or 4 pages of notes there, and again, these stickers were stickers that I just used from previous Dallas, and put it in here beforehand prior to the conference, and I just took notes. I did start running out of space for Heather, so definitely she had a ton of information. So that was the first opening session. The second session was a founders panel, and so I can't remember the exact title, but it was something about like movers and magic, really talking about how they created or like put into action some of the plans that they had, some of the dreams that they had, and how they turned those dreams into reality. And so it was basically a question and answer, and so I wrote the questions and then like maybe some snippets from the different panelists for what they answered. And so the moderator was Callie Danielle, then Tisa Jackson, Myra Aguilar, Tori Artis, and Joe Gick, I think it's Gick, were the panelists. And so again, I won't read everything to you, but I'll just hold it up so you can kind of take a look at it if you would like to. And of course, like as I'm taking notes, like, you know, the things I take notes on are the things that stuck out to me. Everyone will have something different that, you know, spoke to them. So these are just the things that spoke to me. Right. After the founders panel, I don't remember exactly when the energy break was, but I think it did occur right before the goal setting session. I put only Elise's name, but it was Elise and Marielle with Mom and a Girl with Plans. And so they did a workshop. Now with the workshop, I mentioned this in my swag video, I didn't use any of the swag drops unless it was something that was like a pen or something like that. I tried not to use stickers or any of those things just to keep it, you know, complete for the swag video, and also because of my plan to use it for Go Wild New Orleans. And so I basically tried to take the notes in here, tested out like the pins and things like that in here. And so there were some dot markers that were there. There were some grabby metallic pins. I chose like silver, bronze, and gold, and I thought that was really cute. And then again, I just took notes. I won't read the notes to you, but they kind of split it up to where Elise was talking about the functional side of goal setting and like how to do certain types of goal setting. And then Marielle came in and just really talked about how to add creativity to it to keep you in your goals. So one of her quotes was, "Creativity is the key to keeping you in your planner." So I wrote that down for Marielle. and she had these notes here. I'm also realizing that this was Elise and Marielle here, and then Kathy, which I spelled her name wrong, I think it's with a K, but Kathy from Crafty Chica, she was the one that actually had the metallic markers, and she did an entire thing with sticker and stamp storytelling, and so she had a sheet, and we did that. And again, I did not do that in the swag drop, which was like a happy planner grid notebook, and I didn't use her stickers. What I ended up instead doing was just using up my supplies, and so these stickers were very interestingly the ones that had already been placed on the pages, and so I added some more stickers. And then what Kathy talked about was just kind of filling in the pages with like these doodles, like patterns, things like that. And so I did that. I did some of the zebra dot stamps, I added stickers, I drew some patterns, so that's what mine ended up looking like. Her session was really cool. She allowed people to come up after they did their storytelling. The storytelling was based on her stickers, Kathy's stickers, and so I didn't do that, so I didn't go up for the reading, but she kind of interpreted what the stickers and the placement of the stickers meant to her based on how she felt when she designed the stickers, so that was really cool. Okay, and then the last person for Friday morning was Oh Happy Danny. I can't remember her name, but her Instagram and YouTube and all that, I think, is Oh Happy Danny. She talked about artivism, and so this idea of like making sure that we just kind of find a purpose for our lives, not just find a purpose, but like find a passion. All right, my girls interrupted me, so I'm not quite sure exactly where I was, but Oh Happy Danny discussed connecting your passion to your skills, and I can't remember exactly what she said. Passion, skills, community, and need in the world. And again, I won't read all of my notes to you, but she said you have to take those 4 factors and use it for good. Basically, what are the things that can make you good on paper as well as off paper? Like good on and off paper. So that's kind of what she talked about right there. So moving then into the Friday night sessions. The Friday night sessions are called Wild Crop. One of the things I think I want to do in future notebooks is just have a day 1, like Friday morning, like Wild Crop, and then Saturday morning or day 2, division, like just a section break, so that way I can more clearly define these things. But this is going into the Wild Crop, which was Friday night. The first thing that we did was do a book exchange, and so I actually meant to, well, I wanted to like add the books in here, but I just forgot. So what we ended up doing was doing the book swap, and the first session was Amy, and she was doing like a workshop on like creative book annotating and showed us how she annotates her books. Again, I did not want to do that, just to keep everything like nice for the swap and swag video, and also I'm not really super comfortable with like annotating in my books. I felt like the session though really spoke to me as someone who's interested in Bible journaling. It had like a very similar kind of idea. She talked about keys, annotation keys, what are some of the things that you want to code for or color code for. And she did a couple of things like to try to break you into the book, with like, let's just doodle some flowers at the very back of the book, do some like line art type stuff. I did that just in my notebook, as you can see, but she did that in her book. And she talked about like her code, her keys. I didn't write those things down, but she definitely had her own key, and some of those were very interesting things. Again, like I'm not quite yet to that stage of like writing in my book like that, so I didn't take down those notes. And then the second part of the Wild Crop was the reading journal. So this was Erica by the Sticker Party and Moriel. I'm gonna say Create Plans, I think that's correct, but they collabed on a reading journal with the Sticker Party. The Sticker Party has a actual reading journal, and so they just showed how they used it. And again, I didn't use their reading journal in the session, I just took notes, and so there were a couple of things that I wrote down, just like taking notes like always. That was pretty much it. Most of theirs though was like very workshoppy, and so I did not actually do anything in here. Then day 2, like I do have space here to do a day 2, but I had these stickers here and I felt like I didn't leave myself enough room to write. So yeah, I just started here with day 2. These pages let me actually go back here. These pages I did not do prior to. I did start laying down stickers as I was going through sessions from this point forward. So these I just kind of laid when I was sitting, just like planning in between sessions. So the first person on day 2 was Mo from Pipsticks, and she talked about her selfish morning routine. And again, I won't read the notes to you, but she had the acronym SELFISH, SELFISH, and she just kind of talked about what those things were. And so I just took notes for that. Her session was amazing. I really loved it. So the second session for Saturday was productivity journaling. So that was Mark and Jess. I think it's Jess actually with an E. You know, obviously I'm like horrible with like checking my names and things like that. Showing you the notes here. So they talked about multiple methods for like how to improve your productivity using like journaling or planning. So they talked about brain dump, the Ivy Lee method, Eisenhower matrix, and the Alastair method. I might have missed a couple in here, but those were the ones that they spoke of that stuck out to me. And then the next one for day 2 was like a mental health panel. And so I put mental health journaling, but it wasn't. It was a panel, and so there were several people here. I did not put their names in here, but there were several people who spoke. And so similar to day 1, it was question and answer. So there was a moderator who was a licensed mental health counselor. She asked questions of the panelists, and these were the questions here. And again, I won't read that to you, but again, for me, I just wrote down the questions. I missed a couple of the questions as well, but I wrote down most of the questions and then wrote down, you know, snippets of answers that I thought really, you know, they resonated with me. That's what I wrote down. Right, here's page 3 of that. Right, and you'll also on this other side see the editing stuff. So there's really not notes here. But right after the mental health panel, I believe either before or after, I think after the panel was the energy break. And so we ended up getting a swap or a swag drop that was like editing products, some other things. Editing did a workshop with Creatively. So Lisa Walters with Creatively. And the first part of it was a question and answer session with Jazz and 2 of the people who work with editing. So that to me was not actually super interesting. They were just kind of chatting about their like experiences working with the company, which, you know, that's fine, but like not super interesting to me. But then Lisa from Creatively actually came up to do a workshop, and part of the swag drop was like this kind of pin, it's like a pencil or pin bag, and she asked us to just kind of like slip a sheet of paper, like some templates that she had into there, and just kind of like just trace over it, and use some of the editing textile markers to be able to do that. Again, I did not do that, so I just did this myself. These are not the textile markers. This was just some of the markers I had in my own stash. And then I added some stickers just to like get it pretty. Okay, and then let's see what this is. Okay, so the very last session was of day 2, and I did not even put this on here, was the keynote speaker, who was John Green. He is an author, an international bestseller, like Faulkner Stars, some other books. I had, prior to the announcement of his keynote, I had not read anything from his. I do read young adult fiction, but I don't really read young adult fiction related to like illnesses or diseases. I used to read several, but they got to be too intense for me actually. So anyway, all that to say, I didn't really know a lot about him. And so similar format, it was question and answer. And so I wrote the questions and answers that stuck out to me. So I tried to make them quotes. So these were his quotes. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Some of it was like super funny. He was hilarious. Several of the panelists and speakers were actually very, very funny. And a lot of them, actually I would say most of them, were very informative. Some of it spoke to me a little bit more than others. We'll talk about all of that in my reaction video, I think, of like what I enjoyed the most, what I didn't enjoy as much. And those types of things, right? So this is page 3 of the question and answer, right? And then I did go in and design some extra pages here, but I did not use them, right? So like I said, I am going to, I think, just stick contact cards in here just to kind of fill out the rest of the book, and you know, try not to like make it too difficult for myself here. So what I'm gonna do is actually, I think, just fast forward through this part. My girls are asking for me. I'm hearing them in the background, and so what I'm gonna do is just kind of start pulling stuff out and just like gluing, taping things down. So this part will be just on fast forward so that way I can get this done, and then we'll hop back on at the end to show you just like super quick flip through of all the stickers, and then I'll put it into my Go Wild planner. So, you know, just sit back and just enjoy. Okay, you guys, I was able to finish about half of the contact cards. I got rid of this pile of contact cards, and I still have this pile left to go, but my kids are calling me, so I've got to stop and just kind of wrap up this video. So I will, I think, move into 3 more pages, which I do have 2.5. So, you know, like there's 3 pages here to be able to do that, so I think it's perfect. So what we've got then is I just want to do a quick flip through of the pages, not all the way done, but definitely done enough for this video. And again, I'll finish out the contact cards just on my own free time. It'll be something that I can just kind of sit with my kids and, you know, do that while they're like playing or something like that. But they are asking for some food right now. Summer schedule is always eating. I feel like I'm just like living around their snack schedule. So I have loved the size of notebooks, so I definitely think something this size or maybe slightly bigger will be perfect for me for New Orleans. I don't think it needs to be much bigger, like, you know, double or quadruple the size, but definitely this is a good size. All right, so here, starting with the contact cards, I finished this one page. Definitely could go in and add some more stickers. Might do that with just some leftover Live Love Posh stickers from the Go Wild Dallas book. Here's page number 2, and it'll be very similar where I just kind of put them randomly wherever they can fit. And this is the end of page 2, or like going into page 3, and I've got all of these left to do, and so I'll definitely do that. And so once I'm finished with all of that, oh, I wanted to mention these were actually part of the like final swag drop, so these do not count as contact cards, I don't think, at least. So once I'm done with that book, then I'm going to go in here into this conference/conference section, and it will just get stuck right in here, and it will be part of my 2024-2025 record. And I like to keep this planner year over year, so that way I can see my notes every year to see how things change, things that I like to do every year, traditions, or, you know, just notes to myself for things that were beneficial to me. And so I am done for the time being. Again, my kids need me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.